Okay, my name is Callum Stout, student number 160112, and this is the Term 1 game pitch. Okay, so today I'm presenting my game All Roads Lead to Rome. Just been in development since the beginning of the year, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoy it. So, All Roads Lead to Rome is an isometric 4-player permadeath hack-and-slash shooter with a fast-paced gameplay built for controllers, so it could be a PC or console release. Players travel from level to level, obtaining a large variety of pickups to make their character more powerful, or in some cases, less powerful. These pickups will affect the game immensely, making one run-through completely different from the next. The narrative of the game is broken into chapters, 3 chapters, and then within those chapters, stages, with cutscenes between the chapters, all with the end goal of reaching the Silicon Valley. I'll explain that now. The game is pretty vulgar, gory, and it plays on some mature themes, so it's not for children. Yeah. So, in the game, the main character is Connor Dent. He is a seedy, living in a world where technology is alive. This is just a 3D turnaround of the character of Connor. Yeah, he's a compact disc, but he's born in the wrong decade, so he misses his share of the seedy glory days. He works a dead-end job in a seedy club as an MC, so he introduces the bands and is on stage and all that stuff. And he's forced to wear tacky suits, and he performs for privileged technologies. He would quit if he could, but he supports his brother Raymond, who is a RAM card. He supports him financially because he's actually in a home for his short-term memory loss. And your money paying the bills is all that's keeping him safe and comfortable. One day, as depicted in the first few frames of this storyboard, as this is what the game's first cutscene would depict. One day, a close friend to you is killed by a gang because he is unreadable, as it goes, and unable to transcend to the cloud, which is a popular movement starting up in the country he lives in, which is basically just like a neo-gang. This urges Connor to bring down the forces who contributed to the twisted system he lives in. And with the help of an old Nintendo 64 cartridge, a Sony CD Walkman, and Raymond, his brother, he will journey to the Silicon Valley to find and destroy the cloud. So, yeah. Now, the way the game flows is it will start off with a few opening title cards, produced by, made by, whatever, and then along with an epic intro song, which I'm yet to discover, the camera will show the back of a vehicle and then enter the vehicle and stop on the dashboard, which will act as the main menu that looks like that. And then from there, you can either choosing options will take you to a menu where you could change video settings and map and whatnot, typical stuff. And then start or continue will then take you to a character selection page. And like I said, this is built for 4 players. So the camera will then zoom out towards the back window of the car and show each of the characters, Connor being the front left one driving, his brother Raymond in the front right seat, and then the Nintendo 64 cartridge on the left and the back seat, and the Walkman on the right. Each player will then press X to join and then navigate the icon for their remote, so player 1, player 2, player 3, to the head of a character until each character has either got one. So like you can't crowd a character with like player 1 and player 2. You'd have to separate them out. And then from there, depending on if you're starting a new game or you're continuing, if you continue a saved game, then it'll take you to the destination selection menu. Or if you start a new one, it'll show you the opening cutscene and then take you into the first level. Now, a level would look something like this. This is like a grey box version of what it would be like. Your character would only really be the size of a petrol pump down there, so it'd be a lot more zoomed in, but this is an overall shot. In this particular map, the layout allows you to go behind these buildings here, and in the system, if you go behind a building, it's just the building would become transparent, so you can still see your character. And then the objective is in this building over here. Like I said, this is a grey box version, and an in-game render would be a lot more focused on the lighting, because ambience and lighting is very important to me. So they would look something similar to this. So, but because there's such a heavy emphasis on lighting, there would be some levels where there would be no lighting, and you would have to rely on the lights from your shooting to be able to navigate. Or if you get another pickup, that might make you glow or something. Now this would be the destination selection map. This would be what would be between the stages. So there's the 3 chapters. There's chapter 1, which is this yellow section here, which is where your starting town is there. Chapter 2 and chapter 3. And then within each chapter, there's different stages. So the red markers are the main story stage levels. Blue markers being side missions that you can do, and then green markers being gas stations, which I'll explain later. So you'll move from stage to stage until you unlock the next area that you can go through into. The benefit of doing side missions is that you have the possibility of getting more pickups. So you might be able to become more powerful, but if you're the speedrun kind of guy, then you can just go stage to stage until you end up fighting the boss. When in the destination selection menu, you'll only be seeing this portion of the screen though. You won't be seeing the whole thing. I think if you hold down like L2 or a button, you would be able to zoom out and see the whole thing, but predominantly it would be like down in this small box here. While in the destination selection as well, there is a fuel gauge in the top right corner that will slowly tick down even if you haven't selected the destination to move to. So it just urges the player to make his selection as fast as possible, but I'll explain that in the mechanics. And then while in the level or destination selection, you can go into a pause menu and access options. The pause menu would look something like this in old Windows XP kind of thing. And then the game would minimize to look like it goes down into the taskbar, and then you would select what option you want, and it would take you into as if you were in a file explorer kind of situation. And then going back into the game would maximize the game again, and you'll take it back into the level or destination selection. My 2 biggest influences for this game was Helldivers and Binding of Isaac. Helldivers because, well, actually the studio that makes Helldivers is Arrowhead Studios, and they are quite famous for their top-down co-op games. So it's mainly the movement and multiplayer from Helldivers is what inspired me. From Binding of Isaac, I was inspired by the pickup system, and the variety of enemies and the different ways you can play the game. So I'll play a video now of it, but mainly focus on the amounts of pickups there are, the different types of enemies, and how that makes the game replayable. So. So it may look a little chaotic, but this here is Isaac, and in almost all of these different shots, he looks different, his projectiles are different, the way that he has to move to compensate for the different attack strategies of the enemies, it completely changes each time. So here's just an example of all the different pickups you can get. And yeah, it's a bit of a game that's quite gory and quite hectic. So I guess that's another inspiration from this game. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the Binding of Isaac. Mainly the pickup system is what I'm looking at. Back to the presentation. The other inspiration is, as I said, Helldivers. So.
They are soldiers of freedom. Silver Earth is their home. Democracy their creed. They are the Helldivers. And they need you. Travel the galaxy. Visit foreign worlds. And encounter exotic life forms. Modest, noble inhabitants in dire need of liberation. Spread democracy. Bring safety, prosperity, and justice throughout the stars. Command tomorrow's most sophisticated and overwhelming firepower. Superior, reliable, and safe. Become heroes of the Federation. Work together, coordinate your fire, and trust your teammates. So ready your arms, prepare for planetfall, and bring democracy to the universe once and for all. Don't wait. Enlist today.
Yeah, so it's basically a game about space America, and yeah, it's basically Starship Troopers, but taken to a whole next level. But yeah, but it's mainly the movement that I really appreciate from that game. It's a twin stick shooter, and the co-op capabilities are insane. So. The mechanics of the game. Now, the first mechanic is combat. It's close range and long range. Each of the playable characters, so there's 4 of them, has different types of long range and short range. That means that depending on if you play the tank, you might have a very weak long range, but then a very powerful short range attack with lots of health. Connor himself, he's all round. So he's like an all-round character. This is his weapons actually. He's just got like a craft knife sword that he fashioned together, and then a massive magnum, because why not? And yeah, so he's all-round basically. So you don't really have to play a certain strategy with him. Whereas Raymond, his brother, is more like a sniper class, so a glass cannon kind of thing. And then the pickups themselves will affect how powerful your attacks are, and some might actually decrease them. So some pickups and they'll have catchy names, I guess. So if you do if you get a defragmentation pickup or whatever, then suddenly you run faster or something. Whereas if you get a pickup like I branded, then all your stats go down, but then you look good. And then the pickups themselves, there's 4 different varieties. There's common, rare, legendary, and godly. Pickups are found on on dead enemies, or there'll be a console or an interactable within the map, which is randomly spawned, where you be able to get a pickup from. The difference between Binding of Isaac and All Roads Lead to Rome is that in Binding of Isaac, you see the pickup that you're going to get. In All Roads Lead to Rome, you have no idea. It may be a bad one, it may be a good one. So it's just about working out if you want to take that kind of risk. So one pickup in mind that would change the gameplay completely would be one called Ghosting, where only 3 of the 4 characters would be able to move at a certain time. So one of the three that are moving would have to stop moving to allow for the guy who's been frozen to move again, inspired by when a bunch of guys are all crowded on a keyboard and the keyboard doesn't have anti-ghosting kind of thing, back from when I used to play multiplayer games back in the day. And so that's just an example of the kind of pickups you'd get. And then and the other crucial mechanic is the fuel. So this only plays in during the destination selection. The fuel will always be ticking down. So like I said, I wanted to urge the players to make a quick decision. But to refuel, you have to select a gas station to go to. But then you have to weigh up and plan your route to make sure that if you go to the next stage, you'll have enough fuel to go back and get more gas, or continue and get more gas if there is a gas station. If you run out of gas on the way to a destination, then you'll have an ambush level, which are typically very difficult to beat. Now the environments, like I said, it's isometric and based heavily on the lighting to build like the detail and the form of the map. The different types of maps, however, will depend on the objective. So some objectives will be a horde mode kind of situation. So you need to stay by your car at an abandoned gas station, which looks something like this. And your car refuels while your characters hold off hordes of the gangs that are spread throughout your country. Where then there's other ones where it'd be an escort mission, because everyone loves those, or an objective where you have to go meet a contact who's got intel on the next location you need to go to. So you'd have to navigate through a map until you get to until you find where you need to be, and you can fetch this person or switch on the electricity or whatever it needs to be. So some maps will even be a combination of this, so kind of a horde mode area within an objective like fetching based mission. So in this map here, there could be a horde mode situation in this area here, where there's doors on either side of these buildings, and you've got to fight off the waves of enemies that come out of these like dingy clubs or whatever. The ambush map, so if you run out of fuel on the way there, would look something like this. It would just be a road in the middle of nowhere. You're surrounded by just shrubbery and stuff, and you got to protect your car and fight off the waves of enemies. And closing points, there are three main things that I want to focus on with this game. And the first one is its replayability. So I want to be able to make it so that each time you start up the game and you do a playthrough, the pickups that you get will make it so that each time you play, you're changing up the way that you have to approach an objective or approach an enemy. Also, the interplay between the 4 different characters. So you want to keep certain characters at the back, certain characters at the front, but maybe that changes depending on pickups, and now the roles are reversed and stats are swapped out. In terms of cosmetics, even the pickups will also have a cosmetic impact. So the characters you're playing as could look different, and they play different, and the maps themselves, because they'll be generated on the basis of the objective that you have to perform, it won't always be the same map. So having a library of prefabs that of buildings that suit a certain theme depending on the chapter you're in would then be able to be placed on a grid and create a new map. But that would depend on, like I said, the objectives of the mission. The other focus is the multiplayer aspect. So I'd really want to encourage playing with, making sure that you play with as many people as possible. Otherwise, it's going to be even harder. Like I said, it's a permadeath game. So if you die and you're a single player, then you're just going to be sent back to the start. But with 4 players, the chances of everyone dying and the mission being the game being reset is far less likely. Of course, and it's just going to be a lot more easier to have more effective strategies with more people and more types of characters. It's basically just a game that's inspired by a couch co-op where you're all sitting down together or something, having a good time. But yeah, and then the last one is lighting and atmosphere. I'm a killer for aesthetics, and my background is definitely more on the art side of stuff. And I really appreciate when a game can build atmosphere, and it can change it completely, and just brings it to another level. References in terms of the way I wanted lighting to look. I was looking at a game called Monaco, which is also a 4-player game, but it's got this great mechanic of your field of view, and everything that's not in your field of view is unrendered, but everything in your field of view is rendered. So that could be a possibility as well, which would also be a solution to if you go behind a building. But yeah, so those are the 3 main things I want to focus on, and yeah, and that's my presentation. Cool. Any questions?